walks away with the National League crown in the 2022 campaign? I'll let you know my prediction. Let's get into it. What's going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast. And we are continuing our series here, giving you my predictions for the rankings in the 2022 season, this time in the National League East Division. Now, this is a very tough list for me. This is one of the more difficult lists that I had going through this exercise, trying to figure out who I believe was going to walk away with the division. But there's no doubt about it, we begin with number 5. And that number 5 team is that of the Miami Marlins. I think that there's no doubt about it. This is going to be a very tough division, but I think that Miami, with the little bit of moves that they made this offseason, are still going to find themselves in the basement of the NL East. I think there's an opportunity for them to get better and allow some of their young players to grow and mature and learn and get even better at this season. But I don't think that they have enough firepower offensively or defensively or on that pitching staff to be able to really compete with the other 4 teams in the division. Therefore, they are number 5. As we look at the number 4 team on my list, it is that of the Washington Nationals. I think that there's a lot of question marks surrounding this team and what they were able to do this offseason. There are some players to obviously be excited about. Juan Soto is always going to be one of the best players in all of Major League Baseball and one of the most exciting reasons to watch the Washington Nationals play. Steven Strasburg, when healthy, is one of the most dynamic arms in all of Major League Baseball. But the question is in terms of this team, is health, and that's going to be one of the biggest question marks on what they're able to do. If this team is able to be healthy and actually have some very career years from several players around the diamond, there's an opportunity for them to really get back into the hunt in this division. But for me, there's just not enough there for them to really sustain a long-term push over 162 to knock out the 3 teams ahead of them. Therefore, the Washington Nationals are number 4. As we look at the number 3 team on my list, it is that of the Philadelphia Phillies. I think that there's a lot to really be excited about with this lineup. There's firepower up and down the roster, but I think that there are some serious question marks about the defensive ability of this team. And I think that there's going to be a lot of games for Philadelphia that have to get blown out because of that questionable defense. When you're platooning Nicholas Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber in left field and don't have a great defensive center fielder, in my opinion, currently on that team, there's going to be questions about your ability to catch the ball. I also think that there's going to be a need to kind of re-solidify that third base position defensively, as I don't know that Alec Bohm is going to be the guy to be able to remind Phillies fans of Mike Schmidt or Scott Rowland. I think there's an opportunity for Philadelphia to kind of surprise some people with how good they can be. I also think that they were able to do a little bit in that bullpen this offseason, but I still think that they need more to be able to truly get back to being the top of the NL East. Therefore, Philadelphia, in my opinion, will come in at number 3. As we get into the number 2 team, it is the World Series defending champion Atlanta Braves. I think that Atlanta has a lot to be excited about, and I think that it's going to be a very, very tight race in the National League East. Whether they come out 1 or 1A, in my opinion, is really how it's going to shake out. I think there's an opportunity for this team to kind of surprise some people. Even with the loss of Freddie Freeman, I think that Matt Olson was an absolutely perfect addition to kind of help solidify some of that lost production. Now, the blow for this team and why they come in second place, in my opinion, is the fact that they're not going to get Ronald Acuna Jr. back until May. I think that he is absolutely 1000% the linchpin for this team to get back to being the top of this division. If he's able to get back a little bit earlier than expected, or when he gets back, if the Braves are still in that contention spot, there's no doubt about it, the Braves can absolutely walk away with this division. I also think that their pitching staff is very underrated, in my opinion. But when you look at what this team is going to be capable of doing, to me, the loss of Freddie Freeman, even though it's bolstered a little bit by the acquisition of Matt Olson, not having Ronald Acuna Jr. for the entire 162-game set, that month of not having Acuna is really going to hurt the Braves' chances, to me, in winning this division. I still think that, all that being said, that there will be a very tight race going into the final months with the Braves and the New York Mets. So therefore, number one team, in my opinion, this season for the 2022 campaign is that of the New York Mets. I think there's very little doubt about it. The moves that were made by the Mets were absolutely to try to win the offseason. And most of the time, we don't see those offseason winners necessarily translate to the postseason. I think that this might be the difference. When you bring in a guy like Max Scherzer to boost your rotation, with already having the game's best pitcher in Jacob deGrom, that 1-2 punch is absolutely filthy. You add in the ace that could be on about 20 other teams in Chris Bassett that you acquired from the Oakland A's. You now have Taijuan Walker, Carlos Carrasco, Joey Lucchesi. There's so many options now for the New York Mets in their rotation, as well as filling out that bullpen. I also think we get a bounce back year from Edwin Diaz into the upper echelon of relievers. Not to mention now having the universal DH across National League Baseball as well. The New York Mets have been absolutely well positioned for a designated hitter for the last 3 years, in my opinion. I think now having the universal DH, you really extend out the lineup, whether you have them rotating that spot out or having one consistent player playing that designated hitter role. The New York Mets are specifically built like an American League team, and now having the American League rules set with the designated hitter is truly going to help them grow and become an even better team. And to me, there's two big wild cards to this team that have nothing to do with the players themselves. Buck Showalter, the manager of the New York Mets, is absolutely going to be one of the biggest standout reasons why this team improves. And on top of that, you have the owner, the second coming of George Steinbrenner, in Steve Cohen. This, to me, is going to make the Mets a very formidable and scary threat going into the 2022 postseason. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your feelings on this down in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on the divisional rankings, my predictions for the divisional rankings? Where do you disagree? Where do you agree? And why? Let me know that down in the comment section below. Find me over on Twitter at JLaracuente19 and we can continue discussion there. As always, keep it locked into the entire GLMG family with We Sibs, the Granny Geek Show, and of course here on the Baseball Banter Broadcast. For sticking around all the way to the end, use promo code BANTER on baseballbanterbroadcast.com to save 5% off your order. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Keep it locked in all season long as we continue to bring you the latest news, notes, and my personal thoughts, theories, and opinions on the game of Major League Baseball. Peace.